final preseason game, and we've got a lot to talk about, so we'll talk about that just in a moment after this intro here. All right. Sorry, I'm turning up my sound. We're back here on 105. Totally just messed up there. Ignore that. Sorry. Back here on Browns breakdowns, not what I was gonna say. Totally different thing. My apologies there. But we're back here on Browns breakdowns, talking about the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, I just threw myself off. So the Browns played their final preseason game against the Rams a little while ago. I say a little while ago like it wasn't forever ago. They played their final preseason game. Dillon Gabriel was he the starter or no? Right? He wasn't the starter, I don't think. He wasn't the starter, but he was pretty decent. He had the most throws out of all of them, but Dillon Gabriel's was the best, I'd say. Lots of news with Shedeur Sanders, especially with his performance in that Rams game. So we'll talk about that now, I guess. Starting with the Rams, as we always do. 15 for 23, 190 yards and a touchdown was their only quarterback. Dresser Wynn doesn't even have a number, so who knows if he's going to stay with them. But their lead runner was Jordan Waters, 6 for 42. And then it was all unnumbered players for receiving. Brendan Presley, 3 for 51. Terrace Ferguson, 2 for 48. 4 for 32 goes to Britton Covey. True Edwards, 1 for 25. And Drake Stoops, 4 for 23. Defensively, they had a lot of sacks. 1 for Tony Fields II, 1 for Darren Kendrickson. Bill Norton and Jamil Muhammad both had a sack as well. And then Ellis Neal had a sack. Brennan Jackson had a sack. And so a lot of sacks that game. Offensive line was pretty bad in the Browns offensive line, I mean. Now, for the Browns, we had 4 quarterbacks start. Dillon Gabriel was your best quarterback at 12 for 19 for 129 and a touchdown. Joe Flacco, 9 for 10, 71 yards and a touchdown. Shedeur Sanders, who had a poor game that game, 3 for 6 for 14 yards. He did not do very well, and he is probably going to be he is going to stay for the team, it looks like. There's things like 10 minutes ago in news, so I'm going to check this one out. This is Newsweek, right? Yeah, Newsweek. Traded Kenny Pickett, trying to fend off. Found out he had made... All right, so... wow. 5th round pick, 23-year-old Colorado alum, Shedeur Sanders, had made the 53-man roster earlier as Cleveland's number 3 quarterback. So he is still on the team. He is going to be a part of the Browns roster as the number 3, but he had a very poor game. And then Tyler Huntley, 1 for 7, was your 4 quarterbacks that played that game. I know a lot of quarterbacks, but it seems to be what the Browns like doing is having a lot of quarterbacks play. So looking at the rushing, Amani Marshall was 3 for 35, 10. Wow, I just said every number. 10 for 31. Pierre Strong, 5 for 25. Then wide receiving, Jamari Thrash, 3 for 48. Gage Larvadane, 4 for 28. Cy Canal, 3 for 20. And David Njoku, 2 for 20. Defensively, we had 1.5 sacks from Aiden Huntington. Half a sack from KJ Henry, 1 from Cameron Thomas, 1 from Alex Wright, and that was it. No interceptions. Wait, hold on. I saw something else. Never mind. No interceptions either. So those were your stats. Now on to team stats. Pretty evenly matched, actually. Browns 256 total yards, Rams 268. Passing yards, we were ahead by 2 at 171. Rams 169. We had 85 rushing yards. They had 99. We had 4 yards per play. They had 4.9. So third down efficiency, the Rams were really bad. 1 for 12. We were 5 for 13. They were 2 for 2 on 4th down. We were 0 for 0. We allowed 6 sacks. They allowed 4. We both had 7 punts. Penalty wise, we were actually pretty decent, only 5 for 35. The Rams were 12 for 64, no turnovers, and we had 31 minutes and 1 second of time of possession to the Rams 28-59. So those are your statistics. But Shadur Sanders was definitely the hot topic for the game, simply because of how poorly he started. He was just running around, couldn't get anything to happen. So let me look up the Browns roster cuts, since that's happening today, as we or that's happening in the has happened in the past few days. So hopefully here's everyone who has gotten cut, contract terminated. It was Dustin Hopkins, Deontay Johnson, Sam Kamara, Julian Okawara, and Travion Williams had their contract terminated. Then waived was Chase Cota, Caden Davis. These are wide receivers here. I'll give you the names. And then Lamarion James, cornerback, Keegan Johnson, wide receiver, Amani Marshall, running back, Cade McDonald, wide receiver, injury designation, and Peter Strong Jr., running back, injury designation. And then tackle Killian Zier, not sure, was also let go. So that was your cuts. Not a whole lot of actual people getting cut. The 53-man roster has also been announced. The initial 53-man roster. Your let's see, where's the actual 50-man roster? I want to see who's like your starters. Here we go. All right, so for your starters, I'll just give you a few quick little rundowns so you guys know. Your running backs is Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. For quarterback, it's Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders. For wide receiver, you have Isaiah Bond, DeAndre Carter, Jerry Jeudy, Jamari Thrash, Cedric Tillman, and Gage Larvadane. And then for your defensive line, we have Malik Collins, Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., Shelby Harris, Aiden Huntington, not Hutchinson, Isaiah McGuire, Cameron Thomas, Joe Tryon Shoyenka, and Alex Wright. And for your kicker, you've got Andres, how the heck do you say that? SZMYT. However you say that, I'm not even going to try, because honestly that's impossible. And then you have Corey for your punter. So that's kind of your roster, and not touching on everyone, right? I didn't give like cornerbacks or safeties, just kind of giving you all the big players, right? Like the quarterbacks and the defensive line, the kicker and punter. We have problems with that every season, it seems. So just giving you a small rundown of everything you have for your roster. Here, let me move my camera a little. So that's kind of your roster, your 53-man roster. Season starts in a singular week now? It's the 7th, I believe, is our game. Okay, thanks, computer, for not popping up the schedule. It'll be a week from the 31st, I think, is when the first Browns game is. And then I believe we only have a singular week until football is back with Thursday Night Football. But let me look up NFL Week 1 just to check. You've got September 4th, actually the Cowboys. That's funny. So Cowboys at Eagles, 7:20 p.m., 4th of September. So 1 week from today, as the day of recording this, is when football starts. You have another game, Chiefs-Chargers, on Friday, September 5th at 7 p.m. So only a week from the moment I'm recording this until football is back. So be proud of yourself. You made it. You made it through the off season. I know it was hard. I know it sucked, but you have officially made it through the off season, as we're only a week away now from football. So just a few more things I would like to talk. I'd like to just mention there's not a whole lot past what happened in the 53-man, but things about Shadur, like that game was really bad. That Rams game, he did not do very well. I don't think that's a problem. Again, it's his second game in the NFL ever, right? He's not even starting with the best players on his team behind him and in front of him for offensive line and defense. Yeah. I'm not going to discredit what happened. It still was bad. He still had a lot of problems that seemed to pop up. However, it's his second game ever. It's in the preseason with people who aren't going to be making the roster and who aren't the best players ever, you got to cut a little bit of slack, right? Because at some point you can't judge too harshly on a preseason game and on someone who's just their first or second game in the NFL. They're just starting out, right? They're just trying to learn. They don't have the best receivers. They don't have their best offensive linemen or defense out there. So you can't really get a good gauge. But again, it still was a bad outing. It still was a bad showing. I'm not taking away from that. But I'm just saying it isn't anything to be worried about, right? Like, sure, there was still problems, and sure, Shedeur clearly isn't probably ready for that kind of assignment yet. I'm trying to fix my cord, but it's so tangled. But like, I think looking at it, it's going to be a while before Shedeur can be a choice for starter, and that's fine, right? I think modern NFL is going to be you draft a quarterback and don't start them the first year, and you just let them sit there, right? I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think that's the future of many rookie NFL quarterbacks. Now, who knows, right? You might just like Bo Nix, or you still draft quarterbacks to start them year one, but some quarterbacks are much more ready for a year one start than others, and I feel like Shedeur isn't ready for a year one start. I think he still will get a start this year. Like, honestly, I do believe Shedeur will get a start or two this year, but I don't know when it'll be, right? I said kind of week 12 to 14 last week. I said that time around then is when he'll get a start, right? Maybe an injury with Joe Flacco. Maybe Joe Flacco just is bad, right? Maybe Dylan Gabriels doesn't do what we want. So there's time for him to find some playing time at around the mid to end of the season, depending on if we're doing bad, right? If we're doing amazing, then he won't start. But if we suck, right, we're like 2-14, give him the ball, let him play a game or two. Who cares, right? We're still probably going to lose. It doesn't matter. So in garbage time of the season, I think is when he might see a few games maybe. And maybe, you never know, maybe Dylan Gabriel's, you'll be so far ahead, right? You might be 40-6. That's a reference to the Super Bowl unintentionally. I hate the Chiefs. Just that last year. Oh yeah, guys, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got married. Hooray. Anyway, looking at this is Browns breakdowns, not Travis Kelce breakdowns. Whatever, I'm getting distracted. Looking at it, you might be 36 points ahead of the opposing team by like the middle of the third quarter, right? You're 30 points ahead. Just put Shedeur in, let him get a few snaps in full-time football. Who cares, right? You're already going to win. They're not going to come back. So give him a few snaps, let him play it out, right? And so I think that's important. I don't think he's going to get a full start until probably late in the season. And if we're doing good, I wouldn't expect it at all. But who knows what we're going to do, right? Could be great, could be awful. No really way to tell. So that's kind of my assessment. I feel like looking at it, Shedeur is going to be, I think he's going to get a start. I think it's going to be very late, and I think the Browns will have to do poor for that to happen. And this season isn't looking like it's going to be the worst season ever. I honestly don't think this team is that terrible. I think we have a few holes, right? Wide receivers a bit iffy, running backs a bit iffy. Never mind. Everything's a hole. But I don't think we're that bad of a team. I still think we could win like 5 or 6 games. Okay, that's pretty bad. But I mean, it's all right, right? You're looking at the draft. I wouldn't mind if we get a number 1 overall pick. Arch Manning, right? Hey, future NFL quarterback. Let's take Arch Manning, win 7 Super Bowls, and become the greatest franchise ever. I'm kidding, but I wouldn't mind Arch Manning, right? First overall pick. Maybe the Jaguars suck. You get the first and second overall pick. Is Arch Manning coming out? Arch Manning draft year? Let's see. I think he's coming out 2026. He's not eligible until 2026, but he probably won't declare until 2027. So maybe it won't matter, right? Because you can't declare to the draft unless you've been out for 3 seasons of high school, and he hasn't. So his family apparently is also speaking upon him staying, and I think he should stay. I think quarterbacks nowadays, modern college quarterbacks should get their 4 years. I think you should play redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore, redshirt junior, redshirt senior. 5 years you spend in college total, because 1 year you're a redshirt, right? So you spend 5 years in college total, come into the draft as a senior. You've built up your stock as much as possible. People have had ample time to scout you throughout the 4 or 5 years you've been playing, and then you come into the NFL. You've done the best you can, right? I think that's probably the best. Now, if you're like a super, and you also, if you're good, you get a lot of NIL money, right? If you're someone like Arch Manning, you're making bajillions of dollars off of just NIL alone. And so, looking at this kind of situation, I think he should stay. I think that's a good idea, especially because he's going to have the whole Texas team behind him, right? I mean, the Texas is ranked number 1 or number 2 right now in the preseason rankings. Texas is 1 or 2 right now. So, I mean, take the money, right? He's getting paid $1 million. He's being paid so much. Here, let me look up college preseason rankings, just so we know. But like, you've got a whole team behind you in Texas. You've got, Texas is ranked number 1. Then it goes Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson. So you've got the entirety of Texas behind you. I actually have a really nice Texas Longhorns shirt I bought. But Texas, you've got the entirety of Texas behind you. Best team possibly in the entire United States. You've got all these players. You've got all this potential. You're making so much money. Why declare for the draft, right? And not be promised success for 4 to 6 years, depending on who you get drafted by, right? So I think it's fine if he stays out. Who knows if the Browns get him, but I mean, that's kind of irrelevant, right? But no, looking at it, I guess I forgot to do my ad break again. I guess we'll do it right now and then we'll outro. So let me find the text real quick. So we'll be right back, and then we'll finish our outro after I pause the music. So we'll be right back. And we're back here. Browns Breakdowns. Don't forget, we're also breaking down Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Whoa, terrible segue. But use the referral code right. Can I get my finger? Where is it? There it is. Beep, 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 beep. Right there. VQ03R. And we get 15% of anything you buy. Best coffee you'll ever taste. It's like a generational experience, right? You know that scene in like the Lorax where he comes down from the sky or goes up? I actually really don't know. But it's like that scene, right? Whenever you drink Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. So if you ever want to like ascend into heaven, drink Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. That makes it sound like you're going to die. You won't. You might spiritually die because it was the greatest. You know what? Never mind. Anyway, terrible ads. But maybe that is endearing. I don't know. But anyway, I guess we'll wrap up here for the final few minutes. Just say, I mean, only a week-ish until football. I'm glad it's back, but don't have high expectations for the season, all right? And don't have high expectations for either Gabriels and Sanders, all right? These are rookie quarterbacks coming into a rough team, right? The team isn't that great. It's not bad. I don't think we have a bad team, but it's not great either, right? So it's coming into a team with a lot of potential and a lot of problems at the same time. They're rookie quarterbacks coming into the NFL. They aren't going to be perfect. They aren't going to be great. Now who knows, right? Maybe we get a Bo Nix or or someone like that, right? Some rookie that just punches his way. Who's the quarterback for the Commanders? I can't remember his name, but someone who really just comes into the NFL ready and clearly mentally already there in the NFL sense. Maybe you get someone like that, right? But don't expect that, right? That's not the norm. Those are exceptions, not the norm, right? Most rookies come in, they're nervous, they're not used to the speed and the pace and the intensity of an NFL game. The 80,000 fans cheering or booing them, right? You never know. Now in college, college has become so big, you kind of get used to the fan aspect of things, especially maybe Shedeur, because people are just coming to watch him and his dad. But it's different in the NFL regardless, right? You've got the lights, you've got the cameras, you've got hundreds of thousands of people watching you from TV. You've got expectations, a lot of things that go through your head whenever you're playing a game, and that can really get to rookies who are new, right? You're new to this energy, you're new to this speed, and so it can be tough on them. So don't expect a whole lot out of the rookies. Never expect too much out of rookies just in general. I mean, they're rookies, right? They're new, they're still learning. So unless you're getting someone insanely insanely good, like a Joe Burrow or something, right? Someone who's coming in number 1 overall pick, going to be like amazing all off the bat. Unless you're expecting that, unless you're getting that, don't expect too much. So that's all I really have for you guys. Again, schedule for the season. Podcast on Wednesday is a review. Podcast on Saturday is a preview. So we will do that, and I will talk to you guys. Let me turn on my audio real quick. In the next episode. So I love you all, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace. Oh, I missed.